Have you ever considered that your words could be the deciding factor between landing your dream job and getting that polite "we'll be in touch"? Let's say you've meticulously crafted your resume and your LinkedIn profile, highlighting your skills, your experience, etc. You've managed to secure an interview at your dream company or one that has an opening that you're qualified for, and everything's going along pretty well. You even have some rapport with the interviewer who will be your potential boss. And then disaster hits, although you don't realize it at the time. You never hear from them again. It's quite possible that you crossed that invisible line in the land of things to never ever say on a job interview. We've got 8 of them for you here. Make sure you stick around until the end when we discuss the one area where the wrong answer can completely torpedo your job prospects, although those who fall in the trap usually don't realize it until it's too late. Hey guys, I'm Mary Schaefer, founder of AP Now, the place where you go for all the latest business intelligence if you work in, manage, or have responsibility for the accounts payable and/or payment function. Number 1, never ever speak negatively about your old boss or your old company. Resist the temptation, which I know can be strong. It just makes you look bad, and the person you're talking to thinks, they'll be talking about me this way someday. So no matter how big a jerk your last boss was, keep it to yourself. And along the same line, don't speak negatively about yourself for that matter. Don't put yourself down. Depreciating humor may have its place, but the job interview is not one of them. Instead, promote yourself without overselling yourself. Now, this can be a fine line or not. And I remember a number of years ago, I was a mid-level manager working for a Canadian company in the US operations. We had a huge tax, not a huge tax department. We had a tax department of maybe 6 or 8 professionals, most of whom were at a higher level than myself, as well as tax professionals in the Canadian office. And I was interviewing a guy who was going to work for me, and he said during the interview, "Oh, and I know a lot about Canadian tax folks, so you folks won't have to worry about your tax issues." Clearly, he hadn't a clue what he was talking about, and we didn't hire him. So be careful. You want to promote yourself. You want to speak well about yourself, but don't oversell. Don't ask what the company does. Now, why not, you might say? And the answer to that is you should already know. You want to do your research about the company before you get there. The research will not only show that you're interested in the company, it will also help you prepare intelligent questions to ask during the interview. It will also help you prepare you so that you address all relevant issues because you want to be prepared. So, for example, if you saw that there were, in the news, there was talk of the company moving, let's say from whatever your city was to 500 miles away, you might want to ask, hey, is this move going to happen? Yes or no? And they probably say, we haven't decided. And if it does, are they going to allow remote work? Because if they're not, and you're not willing to move, that could be a big no-no, okay, or rather a big red flag that maybe you need to reconsider taking this job, assuming it's offered to you. Now, no matter how desperate you are to know, do not ask about vacation time or sick time. I'll never forget, many years ago, I was a low-level manager interviewing somebody who was going to come work for me, and I said at the end of the interview, do you have any questions? And she said, yes, how many vacation days will we get? And my instinct was to say none, because if that's all you're concerned about, we're not hiring you. But I didn't say that, but just know that that's the reaction you're going to give. So don't ask. It will be explained in the benefits package. Now, you may want more vacation than the company typically gives. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But wait until they bring it up, or bring it up during the salary negotiations. In the US, for example, many companies offer all new employees 2 weeks paid vacation. Now, if you were at your old company for a number of years, you may be already getting 3 or 4 weeks vacation. You don't really want to go back to 2. Who can blame you? Leave that till the end of the interview, or maybe not even then. Again, wait until the salary negotiations begin. By that time, they will have hopefully be somewhat committed to hiring you. You don't want it to be in a situation where they've narrowed their selection down to 2 choices, 2 final candidates, you and someone else, and then you lose out because you started talking about vacation time and you wanted 3 or 4 weeks, whatever it was, and the other person is willing to take 2. So wait until they're kind of committed to you. Now, hopefully you know this next one, but I'm going to bring it up anyway. Never, under any circumstances, discuss politics, religion, or any other controversial topic. For starters, you stand a 50-50 chance of being on the wrong side of the issue. And by the wrong side, I just mean the opposite side to the person who is interviewing you. Now, if they say something about it, trying to engage you in conversation, either ignore it, don't comment, and try and change the subject. Or if they push you jokingly, you can say something like, well, I never talk about religion, politics, or the true color of my hair. Something like that. We're going to make a joke out of it, but avoid those conversations like the plague. When you go on a job interview, you're going to be asked inevitably how you handled the last difficult situation you found yourself in, or how you handled the last mistake you made. For starters, never say, I never make any mistakes, because everybody makes mistakes from time to time, and this will set off some, alarms with the person who is interviewing you. Secondly, should you get hired, people who say they never make mistakes will find that their peers continually look for them to make mistakes, and they point it out. So prepare ahead of time, because you know you're going to be asked. Figure out a few situations where there's a difficult situation and how you handled it well, or think about times you made a mistake and how you handled it, and be quite specific. Okay, and obviously you're not going to want to pick out those situations where you totally bombed on it. You want to pick out something where the situation happened and you handled it well. When asked at the end of the interview if you have any questions, never say, I don't have any. Always ask something. You want to prepare a few in advance. Now, you may have prepared a few questions in advance that you think were brilliant, but during the interview, the interviewer has already answered them. So if you're scrambling and your mind goes blank, you can always fall back on Mike Tried and True, saying, I say something like, well, I don't have anything now. You've been very thorough, but I'm sure when I'm on the train going home, I'll think of something and I hope I can ask it, okay? Having a question is not a bad thing as long as they're intelligent, okay? And by the way, this is a time when you can really shine. You can say something like, when preparing for this interview, I read the company was looking to expand into Europe. If that happens, will you be handling the payables in the United States, or will it be handled, in a separate location? Something to show that you're interested in the job and you're interested in the position. Now, before we get to the controversial interview question, if this broadcast has been helpful to you, I would love it if you'd hit the like or the thumbs up buttons. YouTube, by the way, will reward you by throwing a little confetti your way. Now, this is the controversial question, and I'm going to tell you what both sides of it are, and I'm going to tell you where I come down on it. Can you tell me why this position is vacant? I don't think there's anything wrong in asking, why this vacancy occurs, but some professionals feel that by asking this question, you are intruding on ground that you have no right to. I, by the way, disagree vehemently with this point of view. Remember, the interview is a two-way street. Not only are they trying to determine if you're the right person for their job, but you're trying to determine if the company and the position are right for you, okay? You want to make sure you're not walking into a hornet's nest. So I see there's nothing wrong with asking that. However, you need to be aware of this. The reality is it's a proverbial hornet's nest. If it's a proverbial hornet's nest, they may be trying to hide it from you, which is exactly what happened to me at one point midway through my career. Then when I had my one-year review and I was sitting down with the treasurer, I asked her why she hadn't shared that problem with me, and her response was, oh, get real. In other words, they felt if they had told me, I wouldn't have taken the job. And you know what? They were probably right. So what this means is you need to be especially alert when they are answering that question and try and read between the lines. Are they hiding something or not? What's your opinion on this question? Do you think it's a fair question? Would you ask it? Let me know in the comments below. If they are trying to ascertain the level of your knowledge, they may ask you something like, what's the three-way match? Or what's the difference between accounts payable and accounts receivable? First of all, you need to know all these answers. You can't wing it. This is not one of those areas where you can guess or try and make up something that sounds reasonable. The interviewer will know immediately that you don't know what you're talking about, and this will put your chances of getting the job in complete jeopardy. That's why we recently did a video on a handful of questions relating to the basic accounts payable process that you're likely to be asked in an interview for an accounts payable position, and we crafted some answers that you can use. You can watch it right now using the link that has appeared on your YouTube screen and is in the description. As always, we appreciate your thumbs up, your comments, your shares, as YouTube takes this as a signal they should share it with more professionals just like you.